Hey up Leeds, hope you're all coping and staying upbeat. My guest this week is Adekola. Adekola is a writer, performer and poetry promoter who also teaches poetry. He has his fingers in many creative pies and he performs his powerful poem Heavy Snow in this podcast, and I'm sure you'll find it just as impressive and emotive as I did. Have a listen. So for this coronavirus extraordinary episode of Light on Leeds, I have Adekola who's come along to talk to me today. Hello Adekola.
Hi Hazel, it's good to be here. How are you doing at the moment? Hope all is well.
I'm doing okay, you know.
Yeah.
It's a strange old time, isn't it, back in the second lockdown?
Yeah, lockdown 2.0.
Yeah, swings and roundabouts, but so far so good.
Yeah.
So Adekola, you're a very, very busy person. You're a writer, a performer, a poetry promoter, and you teach poetry.
Yes, I've been writing poetry for a couple of years now, I think early 2016, and then obviously in the past couple of years taking it more seriously. But yeah, it's something I really enjoy doing, kind of expressing myself. I've met a lot of cool people doing it, like other poets and writers, musicians and, theatre people and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, I've been writing and performing for a while. I really enjoy it. And something I really enjoy doing.
And when did you first start? How old were you when you first started getting into poetry?
Okay, so I was coming around to the end of my degree, and I just kind of realized that, look, I need to do more things I enjoy. I was in a bit of a rut, and then a friend of mine who was already doing poetry, and I went to a spoken word night, and then I thought to myself, oh, that looks fun. And to me, you don't need a lot of things to get started. A pen, a paper, maybe a computer or a phone, and just in terms of writing. And I got, it was like friendly and good response the first time I tried. And then, and I just kind of kept it going ever since, really.
And does your poetry have does it have a specific theme, or are they all very different?
Yeah. So I'm interested in like identity, class, faith, with me being a Muslim, with me being working class, with me being Black British, British Nigerian. And I'm interested in identity, I'm interested in class, I'm interested in faith, I'm interested in the search for beauty and meaning in life and art. And I like to think my style is kind of very reflective, very philosophical, and just like playful as well. I kind of don't take myself that seriously, but I do take obviously I'm very passionate about it, and I do I don't take myself seriously, but I do take the practice of writing and listening to people and reflecting. I do take that a bit seriously. So yeah.
And do you have poets that inspire you?
Absolutely. So I'm inspired from everything from contemporary music, pop music, rap music, grime, garage. I'm inspired by people like, Roger Robinson, obviously won one of the prizes, Ford Prize for Literature. I'm inspired by friends, family, novels, things I read. Like Yoruba people, Yoruba music is quite philosophical and and it has a lot of lessons in it. I speak Arabic as well, and from reading Quran and things like that. That kind of just that passing wisdom through the written word and the spoken word so I pull on all sorts of things. I probably should read more poetry, like more pure poetry, things like that. But I do try and go to live events. When I go to live events, I want to listen to music. That all inspires me. When I read like an audio book when I read a book or read an audio book, all of that. So I can never really say like where my inspiration could come from. And to me, it's a form of journaling as well. So looking inwards. So yeah, some of the kind of poems come fully formed, and some of them are actually kind of I'm very intentional about, okay, I want to write a poem about this, and it's just about chipping away at it. Some of them will come in the middle of the night, and they'll just kind of, it's all almost done.
Yeah.
But those are few and far between, and they come more often when you actually practice.
Yeah, of course. And do you find it very different the first time that you had to perform your poetry live? Was that quite daunting? Because I suppose with poetry, it's quite a personal thing, and then you're sharing that with people.
Absolutely. They say public speaking is one of people's biggest fears. Do you know what I mean? And it's I've heard somewhere that it's because it's kind of really quote unquote unnatural to do. It's like your body thinks like maybe you're advocating for your life, and you're gonna be like tried by the village for doing something wrong and potentially I try and remind myself that like you'll almost never die.
Yeah.
Okay, just from performing. So if you try but your body doesn't know the difference between like a lion chasing you and having to do a presentation or do a poem or something like that.
Yeah.
So it all kind of feels as scary. But like with everything, the other side of that fear is really valuable and useful. And the release, the opportunity to connect with people, the kind words sometimes, etc. And just the memory of like the fact that, oh, I did something daunting, did something blah blah blah, something difficult, something daunting, and it's like, okay, oh, it was over. And so you just kind of, the more you do it, the more kind of confident you get, and I do try and enjoy it as well. That's really important.
Yeah, of course. So it's great just to push yourself out of your comfort zone, really, isn't it, sometimes?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So can you tell me a little bit about your project Hopes, Fears, Dreams?
Yeah, so I got commissioned by Assembly House to do a project, and I don't know about you, but obviously, in the height of in a global pandemic, the pandy, and in
Yeah.
lockdown one, when it first hit at the height of it, it really threw me. Do you know what I mean? And really quite daunting. Feelings of isolation. Just yeah, it was. I mean, it was hard for everyone, and it's hard for everyone in some way or another. But personally, it really was. I found it quite tough, and I wasn't that creative during that time. And also, what I noticed was all my dreams were really affected. Like I had trouble sleeping, I had nightmares, weird dreams. And I kind of actually asked around and looked it up, and I actually found that it was a common thing in terms of other people had like trouble sleeping, also nightmares and things like that
Hmm.
during lockdown. So that was the inspiration behind it. I was like, ooh, I wonder how people's dreams have been affected. So I decided to kind of reflect on the hopes, fears, and dreams I mean, I'm a black man, so I tried reflected on the hopes, fears, and dreams of black men during, obviously, global pandy, the lockdown, and then also the anti-racist uprisings that was going on all around the world. So yeah, that was reflecting on that, and so it was like a couple of reflections, some poems, and some stuff. I still have some stuff that's been released as well from that I'm gonna write them up and put them on my Medium, on my blog. But yeah, so just an interesting project that an idea that I had, and I was happy to be commissioned by Assembly House for that. And yeah, that Hopes, Fears, and Dreams project.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I know what you mean. I can remember during the first lockdown having really strange dreams, but I imagine it's because
Mm.
it's all there in your psyche, isn't it? Even though you're carrying on every
Yeah,
day and getting on with everything, it was
yeah,
such a huge thing to happen to us all. It was so momentous, and we had
yeah.
no way of looking back at history and seeing how other people have coped because there's never been anything quite like
hmm
this, has there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, unprecedented. That still, and yeah. So it was something that it did through me, and then once as it gone on, I was like, oh, maybe this might be something worth exploring. So yeah, that was one.
And I noticed as well on your website that you have a creative platform called Say It With Your Chest. And that particularly struck
Mhm.
me because one of the people that I absolutely love listening to, one of my favourite artists, is Little Sims. And she has a track where she
Mm.
repeatedly shouts that Say It With My Chest. And it's just a really powerful phrase, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. So say it with your chest. We've been it's like a Leeds-based poetry and creative platform. I run that with my friend Ty Ogun. He's another poet that's worth checking out. And it's just as I could mentioned, going to a lot of poetry nights in Leeds and things like that. And we just thought, yeah, we wanted to not just be people that going to open mics and waiting for like spots to open at different gigs, of having been inspired by the Sunday practice, which is like quite a black led night, and it's like got this music, and it's like one of the more fun nights out in Leeds. In terms of just the vibe is really cool and all that kind of thing, and just different partners and different people that have inspired us. So we thought, let's kind of add to the ecosystem in terms of putting on making a platform and having a regular night and putting on opportunities. And so that's what Say It With Your Chest is. It's just our vehicle for promoting poetry and creativity in Leeds. I run that with myself, Ty. Part of what we've been doing recently is last year we've kind of led on the creation of a zine called People of Content.
Hmm.
And in that there was writing, there was artwork, and it was all like people of color based in Leeds at the time. And we kind of just meeting up over the course of last year, and then what we did is, obviously, in light of global pandy and things like that, we put it out, and then we just we for free, and then we just took donations for like anti-racist and education type of activities. And so yeah, so that's something that we're happy with. And then part of Sit With Chest, we've been doing Outspoken, which is a regular poetry night, and now we've partnered with Open Source Arts. And so we had our first live kind of live poetry event since February. We had our first live event on the 16th of October at Open Source Arts, and we partnered with Leeds University Black FemSoc for that. We kind of it was live, and it was also streamed, so it was like socially distanced, limited audience. We were wearing masks, and we also able to stream it on Zoom as well. And we're hoping to be back. We're still gonna do something. Probably it's gonna be a virtual event this month, purely virtual. But we're gonna be back in this early December with some stuff from Say It With Your Chest and Open Source Arts. And then also we're hoping to do a film festival later in the year as well. That again blended live and in person, and just trying to keep the creativity going, keep the connection going, and just kind of keep advocating for arts and activism and critical writing by people of color, working class people, and that's kind of what we try to do really with Say It With Chest.
Well, it sounds like you're doing a great job, both of you together, and making sure that you're staying creative and staying in the loop, and making sure that people of Leeds have got lots of things to listen to and get involved with.
Yeah, thank you.
And you also have a debut collection of writing that you're going to be publishing in the new year. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm going to be publishing it with Burning Eye, so they're an independent small publishing company, and it's going to be my debut collection of poetry, and it's most likely going to be titled Negrescence, and Negrescence is about Black identity formation, but it's going to be again just personal poems, reflective, looking inwards, looking at the world, and just some again balance of the personal, the political, maybe some will be humorous, and and I'm just really excited. It's nice to like I said, I've been writing for a bit, but not that long. But it's nice to kind of have an opportunity to, present, like a full collection of poetry. And so I guess that will be coming out around about maybe September 2021. But in the meanwhile, people can go to my website, adekola.bigcartel.com, and they could buy a poetry pamphlet. It's only a couple of quid, and just get a sample and taste of what what my writing is like and what they see, and hopefully they like it. And it's nice to have something like that to work towards, because obviously I'll be editing and writing all the way up until I have to hand in the manuscript basically.
Yeah. Do you feel like that in some ways, although you could see the pandemic and the lockdowns as inhibiting creativity, do you feel like because you've had to sort of find different ways, do you think it's affected your creativity slightly differently, but because it still sounds like you've been very active and you've got lots of output?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it was good to have good to build on the things that we had before the pandemic, in terms of obviously Say It With Chess, we started it before, and my putting things out on social media and things like that. So it was good to build on that. But yeah, it sounds like we've got a lot going on, but there was it's sometimes it's fits and starts, do you know what I mean? And sometimes, and I really believe in not forcing it, and if you don't feel creative, that's fine. If you kind of there's obviously people are thinking about essential work and working, and and there's a whole lot of things going on, but I do feel art is important and poetry is important, and art is not a luxury and poetry is not a luxury.
Yeah.
I mean, during the pandy, we had all the streaming and all the all these kind of things got us through, in terms, so it is valuable, and obviously the government and people like that, they don't really rate art at the moment, especially and maybe in the north, especially art by black people or other kind of minorities, etc. So we kind of have to stand together and stand and really kind of affirm that we have our art is worth making, and it is useful to us and to other people. It's it's a hobby it's a passion, and just really want to kind of connect. I want to kind of use the art as a vehicle, like I said, for self-expression and to learn by other people, and then also kind of bring people together. So it's critical kind of thinking and community, and bringing out empathy and just making people feel more connected and less alone. So while I still enjoy it, I'm gonna kind of do it. I do kind of that's what I feel about it.
Yeah, good for you. And people can actually go to your Instagram as well and see some of your work there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Adekola poetry on Instagram. So I'll post sometimes I'll post just the text. Sometimes I'll link to things I've written. Sometimes I'll update about my work, or update about what Say It With Your Chest are doing. And the Little Sims is one of my she's really a really dope artist. But I think our Say It With Your Chest was named before their song.
Oh, okay,
But it's not. I don't. But it's not. But I think it's just a phrase. I think that one of the first times I heard it was Kevin Hart on one of his comedy route, on one of his comedy
all right.
kind of specials on routines, and so it's not really, it's like one of these things that are just it's kind of it's a very popular in America, what they call urban circles or black kind of circles, but it's just one of these things that's like, it's a phrase that I don't know if anyone owns it, but it kind of means basically, to speak something confidently, to kind of say it with, unapologetic and all these kind of things. And that's the kind of vibe that we were trying to go for with Say It With Your Chest. So yeah, but yes, that's a dope. Little Sims is dope. So
Yeah, she really is. So can I just ask you, Adekola, have you always lived in Leeds?
who's asking? Is it the no, I was joking. It's like immigration
I'm,
joke.
I'm only asking. I'm only asking from the point of view. I ask
Yeah,
every
yeah, yeah.
guest. I only
No,
ask
no, no,
because
no. I'll tell you.
sometimes I guess who might have only lived here for 5 years, and
No, no, no. I'm a Leeds. Oh, no, no. I'm a Leeds. Like I'm a like so. Yeah. I'm a Leeds. Like I'm a Leeds person. I grew up so I was born in Nigeria. Like few years in the Middle East, in Saudi, and then I've been living in Leeds since the age of 8 or 9, I think. So yeah. So like yeah.
well, again, because the only reason I'm asking is because obviously, if you've lived here since the age of 8 or 9, then you are 100% qualified to answer the questions that I ask every guest. And the first one being, what would you say is a great thing about the city of Leeds?
Okay. I like it's so weird. It's a feeling, isn't it?
Hmm.
What I like about Leeds is, like, if you look at in the terms of the last few, I like the green spaces that are there. I like the rebellious or kind of indie type of vibe as well that there is. Because obviously we're not like when you don't want to compare with other places, but it's it's a small it's a small city, it's a big city at the same time. You can walk around the city, most parts of the city center, in half an hour or so. But then also the space wise, it's massive. If you look at about Otley and Yeadon and all these kind of things. So it's a really good sized city. It's really yeah, and it's been good to me. It's been good to me. It's been good to my family. So I've just kind of got I've got a lot of warm feeling. I've got a lot of regard and warm feeling towards it, and good memories, really. Obviously, it's not without its faults as well. And even though, for example, in terms of like just the public transport, and it's even though it's a small city, it can be really not. It can be a lot more connected, and it can be a lot more connected, and different artists can be a lot more connected. The public transport could be a lot better as well. That's a big barrier. And but yeah, I've got a lot of time for Leeds, and I've I see students come and go, but I also I really get excited when people like yourself are putting a flag down and be like, okay, no, I'm gonna look at Leeds and promote it, and actually and yeah, all of them like yourself have been really kind of friendly and really kind of welcoming, and that's the kind of yeah, and that's kind of that goes a long way for me.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right about that. Well, my next question was going to be, what do you think is not so great about the city? But you have already mentioned public transport, which, to be honest, does come up an awful lot when I ask that question.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, like public transport as a major one, because honestly, it would be so. And obviously, as a kind of someone who's promote connection and create community, etc. There just needs to be more kind of things like that. Leeds, obviously, and also in the arts. Yes, I mean, there's maybe I feel like the arts sector in Leeds needs to be more like I don't feel like they're connected with the people on the street as possible. Like maybe there's been rumblings, especially in this year, of anti-racism and trying to be like more engaged with and less kind of more accessible and stuff like that. And so we'll wait and see. Really, I feel like a lot of these institutions and a lot of these, like, for example, I tried to apply for some funding like a while back for something, and the form was just so like just complicated and just so, and because obviously it's like it's from public money, isn't it? It's like taxpayers' money. So I understand that there'll be some like things that you need to put in place, but there'll be a process and things like that. But it was just so like off-putting and things like that. So I feel like more can be done in terms of just like the art sector, and just making it more accessible, and actually and really engaging with people kind of making the art, and the black artists, the artists of color, and working class artists, and actually giving them opportunities rather than just maybe big institutions, like whether it's I don't know, whoever you can think of, a lot of the same kind of arts organizations that kind of are supported and are financially, like, whether it's ballet, opera, etc. Not to kind of call them out specifically, but it's like maybe they have some fear of maybe kind of reaching out, and because maybe of saying the wrong thing or whatever. But it's like you kind of have to just you have to not you have to. It'd be wise. It'd be useful for them to reach out and actually and not kind of and just look at people maybe like us, like myself, and see if we can partner or that kind of thing. But that's just one person's point of view, though. So.
And if somebody was a long-term resident of Leeds, would you
Mhm.
be able to tell them about something that you think is a hidden gem that they might never have heard of?
Ooh, I think thought about this. A hidden gem, long-term resident believes a hidden gem. Where have I? Okay, I'm gonna talk about some places that I've checked out. Oh, actually, okay. So I don't know the name of it. Woodhouse Ridge, I think. It's not a super hidden gem, but yeah, but it's like a cool place that you can go and you can if you're prepared to do a bit of a climb, you can walk by there's like a bit of a stream, isn't there, that goes all the way to the city center. There's
Yeah.
like abandoned buildings near there where you can like abandon like I think mills and things like that, where there's like factories and there's cool graffiti and things like that. So that's there's blueberries as well, or blackberries even as well that you can kind of pick, and so that's somewhere that I've been recently. But there's just so many. No, that's not a hidden gem. But yeah, there's just so many. But I'd say the outdoor spaces, a lot of outdoor spaces, place spots by the river, a lot of hidden spots by the river. But I'd say Woodhouse Ridge and places around there, they're really cool.
That's really good, yeah. And I think I've had a few people mention that as well, but I know that's very
Mm,
popular with people of Leeds, isn't it? But I
mm,
mean, yeah, if you're not from Woodhouse, it's a good place
mm,
to go and check out, isn't it?
yeah, it is. I think.
And not to put you on the spot, Adekola, but do you have any poetry that you'd like to recite on this episode?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, it'd be a kind of it's only right, it's only fair. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be lovely
Okay.
to hear it.
Okay. All right then. I'm gonna just bring up my. I'll do. How long have I got? Like a minute, 2 minutes? What?
It's up
How,
to you, whatever you want. I'm willing to listen to whichever length of poem you'd like to read.
okay, cool. I'm gonna do one called Heavy Snow because it's
Oh,
one that
lovely,
I
yeah.
really enjoyed doing. And then the others I'll just do off the top of my head. But that one I need to bring up. So bear with me. So it's called Nothing to Say, but it's also got another title called Heavy Snow. Heavy snow settles on a chubby brown boy. The cold is where he lives, winter is all he knows. So you've nothing to say or do about race, it doesn't affect you. I can't relate. Even I'm sick of saying white people this and racism that. Do you want praise for being an ally, or do you want to do the work? Are you going to look inside? What do you know about colonization, about race, class, and all that jazz? And what do I know about what some Yorubas or Muslims have done and how their battles were fought and won? I wish I could say it's hard to believe what we do for nation, gang, and creed. Are we all one race or not? If hate is living in someone else's world, how much hate have I internalized and metastasized? The two peas in oppression are like two peas in a pod. It's high time for thinking critically about power, privilege, and how we treat people. And what am I doing? For my brothers, for my lovers, for women, queer people, and others. What's worse, being a second class citizen in a white man's world, or being a second class citizen in my father's land? No racism there, of course, but a legacy of colonization and exploitation, a list of isms, schisms, and divisions, a bad bunch of other things. Talent is everywhere, but opportunity isn't. I'm not even the smartest of my cousins. Yeah, I know all about the West, but what about the rest? I write for people in Leeds and people in Lagos, for the children of Africa and the grandchildren of Africa dispersed in the diaspora. Heavy snow settles on a chubby brown boy. The cold is where he lives. Winter is all he knows. It's scandalous and banterous how Britain wore its binoculars, picked up the rifle, the Bible, and came looking for me. I don't know if Britain is always to blame, but why is Britain always the frame? They say the UK is less racist, but less racist is still racist. Rest in peace, Oluwale, and all those who died at the hands of British police. A red passport in any other colour would be just as bloody. What if writing Britain is rewriting Britain? So do I feel British? Does it even matter? I'm a child of the West, but they don't want me here, and I don't feel at home anywhere, not after what I've seen and what I believe. Most have nothing to say or do about race, it doesn't affect them. But if you're one of the few that actually helps, don't keep it to yourself. if you're one of the few that actually helps, speak up, show yourself.
Wow, that's so powerful.
Thank you. Thanks for listening.
What an amazing poem. That's so great. When did you write that?
I wrote that around October last year. I think it was around. It was inspired by maybe I think it was around Black History. October's Black History Month,
Yeah,
and I think I was just I think I was in a setting, and then someone just kind of mentioned that, like that they, quite sincerely, quite genuinely, but that they felt that, with them not being black, they felt like they didn't have anything to say about it, to say
yeah,
about race, and
right.
that's kind of what inspired that. And it's just about trying to say that, look, like, whether that's, challenging racism or challenging anti-black racism and racism in general, challenging, whether it's, misogyny, etc. We all kind of have a part to play
Yeah,
in it, and so that was the crux of it. And again, like with anything, when I look outwards, I also try and look inwards as well, as to, like, how I feel and what I'm doing. So yeah, that was the crux of that point. Nothing to say.
yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. And I always ask guests whether or not they have a track by a Leeds-based artist or band that they would like to feature. And and you've also performed the track. You're a multi-talented young person.
Thank you. Thanks for your kind words. Yeah, I try to. I feel like poetry is like my entry point into, like, writing and creativity. But I'm hopeful, and I hope, and I trust that. Well, and I hope that I can kind of expand and explore, and in years and in days and years to come, that I do. I write. Sometimes I'll write as well. Sometimes I'll journal, and sometimes I'll publish that. I mean, I can see myself acting, or directing, producing, and things like that. So I feel like I want to, and the collaboration is also being able to work with, whether it's a filmmaker, because I've got a few poetry films that I've done, or being able to work with a producer, music record producer. It's nice because then, I just love kind of collaborating with other artists and other creators. So I can see myself, like I said, making music or making films, and who knows what else in the future. And so, as long as I kind of,
Yeah, like one thing leading to another, really. Yeah, and finding out how far you can go.
exactly. So yeah. So
And so, can you tell us a little bit about this song, the title, and how you made it, and why you've chosen it?
Okay, sure. So it was Hyde Park Book Club. I'm friendly with Hyde Park Book Club and the people at Iger Studios, and they just kind of invited me to basically kind of jump on this. They were doing a fundraiser for a charity in Leeds called Black Health Initiative, as part of, like, and so Hyde Park Book Club, Iger Studios, Black Health Initiative, and it was kind of just to raise awareness and fundraiser for, I guess, for Black Lives Matter Leeds and things like that. And so they just kind of wanted me to get involved. So I said, of course. And then, so yeah, we were able to. Alex Robinson, he kind of led on the project. It's out. It is out now as well. I think I'll try and find what it's called, what the name of the project is called. But yeah, so my poem is the poem I did was called Carnival City, because that's a poem that I'd already written before for something else. But obviously, with the fact that there's no carnival this year and things like that, I thought, let me try to write, let me put that to music. And so Alex was able to kind of, obviously, yeah, make the, put the music down, and I kind of performed the poem, and we just kind of did it like that. So the poem is called Carnival City. The project is called Leads Together BLM BHI Fundraiser, and it's on Bandcamp, and it's by the Alex Robinson Project.
Excellent. And I'll put links in the podcast notes so that people can click through and buy it and contribute, which will be fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, and so that's the story behind that.
Excellent. And what will you be doing with the rest of your evening today?
Okay, so I've came from Hyde Park, so I'm gonna maybe shower, have something to eat, and then, so now that it's, obviously it gets dark earlier these days, so but I was able to make the most of it, and I've been in Hyde Park Woodhouse Mall. So I'm just gonna relax for the rest of the evening, get something to eat, watch some shows, and yeah, that's it really.
Yeah, good. Just have a good relaxing Friday. That sounds good to
Yeah,
me.
yeah. What about you?
What will I be doing? Well, I'm going to have to go straight to the shop as soon as this podcast has ended because I'm supposed to feed my cat at 4 o'clock. He starts looking at
Oh,
me at 3:30,
yeah.
and then I came up here to do the
All right.
podcast, but I've run out of cat food, so I'm going to have to run straight to the shop before my cat
Oh,
eats
bless.
me because he's so
Yeah, yeah,
hungry. But apart from that, not a right lot.
yeah. Okay, cool, cool.
It's been absolutely lovely talking to you, Adekola. Thank you so much for coming along.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Hazel.
Absolutely no problem. I'll put links in the podcast notes that people can click on all the various projects that you're involved with. But yeah, good luck, and well done with everything, and keep going.
Yeah, thanks, and yeah, Light on Leeds sounds dope. Keep up the good work, and thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
What's happening in this great city? Light on Leeds, we'll tell you. Wait a minute. Light on Leeds.
It was fantastic to speak to Adekola, and I am very much looking forward to Negrescence of a Black Poet, which is to be released next year. Adekola chose a track that he performed on as part of the Alex Robinson project. It's called Carnival City. Give it a listen.
Carnival City by Adekola. From Aerials to Chapeltown and back, from the Caribbean to Leeds before that, from the land of wood and water to the Windrush, from West Africa to the West Indies. Look up, look down, some things change. Look back, look around, some things the same. Somewhere between learning from elders who paved the way and looking to the future that we're making each day. Every day turns to night, every night turns to day. Public transport is a ghost, I know it better than most. A top boy like Sully, I'm always in a hurry. I'm turning up, trying to find a motive, trying to shackle on the beat with a yay that's different to yours. In this big city life, I'm just trying to get by, just trying to get from A to B and escape poverty. In this big city life, it's just high and by. Pressure goes up, no matter what I try. Don't you ever get lonely? Don't you want to know me? Be a friend of mine? Big city life, so I have to run. I can give you 5 when my work is done. Why do we live our lives like all this stuff survives? Don't you ever get lonely? Don't you want to know me? Be a friend of mine. From Aerials to Chapeltown and back, from the Caribbean to Leeds before that, from the land of wood and water to the Windrush, from West Africa to the West Indies. Look up, look down, some things change. Look back, look around, some things the same. Somewhere between learning from elders who paved the way and looking to the future that we're making each day.